look at the gesture you're making. You're saying, going into the essence. I'm 74 years old. This is the arc of my life now. When I was 18, my arc was this way. When you reach this age, there's not a lot of time ahead of you. And so what's important now, for me now, and I'm not alone, in the history of art, you see it forever. Why do those old artists paint skulls or the seasons? Because I think you get to a certain point and you're looking for the essentials. You've frittered away a lifetime on superficial things, tits and ass, and the games that people play, and all the seductions. But you get to the end, and the core essential qualities of your makeup and the life around you, the few relationships you have, these are a powerful focus of your energies, because your energies are diminishing. As active and as physical as I am now, I'm still 74 years old, and who knows what 5 years from now is going to be, or 10 years from now is going to be. So you want to make the most of what you have. And I think that what happened to me is that I saw my father get Alzheimer's, and I made a movie about him because I wanted to share this experience with all those other millions of families who had this problem and they weren't paying attention to it, and suddenly I realized I was. I want to tell them about it. And then 9/11 happened, and I was already more engaged in being a socially useful person, and I witnessed things in Ground Zero that changed my life. And I even saw some visual things that gave me some clues about things that ultimately come up in this end work I'm doing now. And so things become more and more focused and minimal and essential. I think minimal and essential are two halves of the same thing. And so I find myself now really curious about the elements, the basic properties of our system: air, fire, earth, and water. And the question I'm raising is, how do I make photographs of these in some cases substantial, and in other cases ephemeral phenomena? They are, first and foremost, phenomena. They are. We don't make them, they are. And can I photograph them in the most direct and simple way in which their purity, their entirety, is the picture, where I don't use the standard quotes of photography, which is the illusion of perspective. That's a Renaissance quote, Here's a horizon line, here's a road, here's the sky. You get these formal relationships. Can I make an interesting photograph out of dirt, water, air? What's the color of air? How do you photograph fire? I mean, they're questions, and my feeling is I want to make a print as big as the thing itself. I want to make a print that's 12 feet across, and the viewer will just walk up to it and stand in dirt, Have you ever lain down in a summer meadow, face down in the grass with your arms out, and you just feel that you are a speck lying on the curve of the earth, in the grass, breathing in the dirt and the grass and the flowers, and feeling the sun on your back, and that's all you are. Right now, you're just like that. I want to make a picture, if I can, that when you see it, gives you the same sensation that you are connected to the phenomena in the purest way. And I really believe that it's an age-appropriate thing. It's no different than someone painting the Four Seasons, You don't know it until you get to that doorway. Because I've gone through a lot of doorways. In 50 years, all these things we've talked about are doorways. I arrived at that portal because of everything before, and now I'm standing in the doorway and I'm saying, I think I have to give up the incident because the incident is too much of a hook. It's the Cartier-Bresson incident. I need to let go of that. I do it well enough for me. I've learned everything I needed to learn. Bye. So now what do you make a picture of? And then I use the view camera and I say, I just want to photograph this bowl of space in front of me. It's just tide going in and out and air going up and down. And how can I make a picture of this emptiness, this nothingness with a camera that photographs everything? Can I photograph nothing? I mean, these are the questions I ask myself. And so, you know, how do I do justice to ground zero? How do I, the single photographer in there, instead of a crew, how do I describe the enormity of the catastrophe and the elements of the people who are taking it apart and hoping to restore this thing? So each of these things poses a new problem, an interesting, engaging problem. But it's not something I'm seeking. It's something I arrive at. I arrive at the thing I want to help my father and all the people with Alzheimer's. I want to do something for New York City, my hometown. I want to help. And there's nothing I could do until I realize I can make an archive. So I think these little momentary recognitions are the ignition point, the tipping point in which, if you're vulnerable, you fall over into a new, over the threshold into a new space. And I think many people feel that the threshold is an abyss. And if you step over, out of your comfort zone, you're going to plummet to your death down there. When in fact, it's just a meadow on the other side. You're going to step over that doorway. Oh, this is fresh out here, because all the rest of it's behind you. And I guess in some really innocent way, because I don't calculate, in some, really, you think you're old enough not to be innocent any longer, but in fact, we bring our innocence with us all the way. I think that each time something feels fulfilled to me, that I find myself opening up for the next possibility, because I'm curious. This medium, photography, is an extraordinarily rich medium, and most of us hardly scratch the surface of it. And I feel really gratified that I've had 7 or 8 or so opportunities to develop another idea about myself and the medium. And I think it comes from how you view yourself as a person relative to the medium you choose to work in. I've always felt that I served photography. I wanted to learn about the medium. So you learn by being a servant to it. You do what it offers you until you understand enough, you know? That's the whole Zen master thing, right? The student comes to the master, and the master says, "Do my dishes and sweep the porch." "Master, I want to learn how to rake the garden." "Sweep the porch." You learn how to rake the garden if you learn how to sweep a porch. It's the same thing. And I think that photography has that for me. It's always offered me the gift of a fresh sight. But you have to be connected and keep on doing it and believe that it's going to keep on unfolding for you.